He'll never stop shooting a basketball the rest of his life. All he's going to do is become one of those old, famous ex-players that's in the Hall of Fame, that's a legend, that shows up at games, just like his dad did. His dad shows up at games. His dad was never as good as he is. And his brother is the lost soul. Like, they don't even care about his broke ass. This guy, Steph Curry, can play forever.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is live on SportsGrid, a Tuesday night here with you. I'm Kevin Walsh. We've got 2 hours, and it will be a busy 2 hours, no doubt. Loaded Major League Baseball card, and we've got 4 home run picks for you. Group effort. Only one for me. Group in the back helped kind of round this out here. I know we don't have the traditional Dinger Tuesday that we all loved. You'd love to see it come back, but on a Tuesday, we could still see if we can put some balls over the fence. And we will go through the baseball card tonight. Biggest game, undoubtedly, and at least head-to-head. Phillies Braves, Atlanta at home with Chris Sale against Zach Wheeler. We will get into that. We will talk as well about last night's college basketball national championship, a sad finale for the Cougs, but they gave it. Well, they had a good run at it. I don't want to say they gave it their best. Certainly a shout-out to Walter Clayton, Iona's finest, getting the most outstanding player, rightfully so. We put an eye towards next year's national championship market, see if there's anything we can glean from that. The NBA tonight, a few interesting spots, a bold decision from the LA Lakers to play their full guys, a decision the books were not expecting, a big dropping number there. I would argue the big game on this slate is Phoenix and Golden State, and we will get to that game momentarily. But we begin with the news today that absolutely shocked so many people, which was the Denver Nuggets firing their head coach, Michael Malone. That news was shortly followed with the decision to also move on from Calvin Booth in the front office, and the Denver Nuggets cleaning house. Now, some of the shock of this move could have been lessened if you were tuned in to Moneyline on SportsGrid Radio this morning. Without any indication that this was around the corner, I spent some time this morning talking about the Denver Nuggets' success or lack thereof. And I don't feel as if the timing of this move was necessary by the Denver Nuggets, but I think Denver felt this was inevitable. So perhaps that then could justify this move. Let's talk, though, about why I thought this morning it would be relevant to zone in on the Nuggets' struggles. In the 2020-2021 season, Nikola Jokic won his first league MVP. And many believe that Jokic, at the end of this season, should be securing his 5th consecutive MVP, which would be completely unheard of. In that run, where Jokic has been seen as the best player in the sport, the postseason success is completely unacceptable. First year he wins the MVP, eliminated in round 2. They follow that up with a round 1 exit. They then win the NBA championship. That's fantastic. Round 2 exit last year to Minnesota. And this year, at this point, making it to round 2 would be an upset. FanDuel has odds to advance to the Western Conference semifinals and is a plus price on the Nuggets. They don't have to win the title every year. They don't have to be in the finals every year. But if this team, during this 5-year run of Nikola Jokic, which is viewed as one of the greatest individual half-decades this sport has ever seen, has one conference finals appearance to show for it, that is flatly unacceptable. It's unimaginable. You take a look back at guys that were on this type of run. You look towards Michael Jordan, you look towards LeBron James. When Michael won his first MVP, that 5-year window included multiple championship victories and another conference finals appearance, if not 2 more conference finals appearances on top of it. When LeBron won his first MVP, it was met with a trip to the conference finals, 3 finals appearances, and 2 trophies. The Nuggets have made the conference finals once and are now not expected to even get back to that round again this year. So clearly that front office knew that this team, if they came up short, would be cleaning house. And this team took a look at their results so far in April and said, oh yeah, that is exactly where we are going. Jokic, in the 3 games he has played this month, is averaging, not a joke, not an exaggeration, 45, 12, and 10. They are 0-3 in those games. How that is real is beyond me, but they are. You could say, oh, but what about Jamal Murray? It's 45, 12, and 10. 0-3. Home against Minnesota. Home against the Pacers. How is that acceptable? It's not. Clearly, Michael Malone not having the greatest relationship, it feels, with every player in that locker room. You have to wonder, is it on the board? Jamal Murray makes a miraculous recovery when a couple of days ago Michael Malone said, we have no idea what's going on with him. I think it's plausible. But I think what we saw here from the Denver Nuggets' utmost brass was sending a message. We do not believe it is acceptable to have Nikola Jokic, and in this 5-year window, 1 conference finals appearance to show for it. And if you think I'm being unfair because they went to the conference finals the year before he won MVP, I'm not. He's been the best player in the world. Many believe for a half-decade. This is not an they have the same amount of losses as the 8th seed. They might be the 8th seed. People want him to win MVP again, and they're going to be the 8th seed? Are you nuts? So clearly a message being sent. We were going to have to fire Malone anyway. We were going to have to fire Booth anyway. You players better wake up. Adelman, who's now going to step in as the interim head coach, has legitimate head coaching looks prior, was a legitimate option actually for the LA Lakers during their coaching cycle. Maybe he can show something here. But it shows Jamal Murray, if you're messing around, you better get back. Michael Porter Jr., let's slide those feet and let's guard somebody. Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Strother, let's wake it up. Russell Westbrook, oh, wow. Let's figure this thing out, huh? Not great. Because everything is going to have to change if, once again, this team cannot make the conference finals. And it now, for, I think, a lot of the other components here in the Western Conference, they believe has opened up the chance for them to make the conference finals. That includes the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors, though, live and die by Steph Curry more than they ever have before. Steph on a 3-game run wins against Memphis, the Lakers, and the Nuggets, 52, 37, 36. Absolutely brilliant. 3 points against Houston. Legendary bounce back spot for the Chef tonight. Warriors Suns. Steph, 5+ made threes at -105 is a must on this slate tonight. When Steph is coming off of a game where he scored single digits, the last 5 times we've seen it, he averages 6.6 made threes per game. On the year, when he makes 1 or fewer threes, the follow-up game, 5 or more, 3 out of the 4 instances we have seen it. The Warriors likely strike the final death blow to the Suns tonight, and they do so with Steph Curry being absolutely phenomenal. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try Blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, because I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball live right now with a couple. Metsies up on the Miami Marlins. We are scoreless in the game between the Guardians and the White Sox. Someone update me if either of these teams have been shut out yet. I feel like they both have been shut out, so that does nothing for the shutout pool. All right. Yankees today were shut out. Biggest game on the NBA slate to me, that's Warriors Suns. Biggest game on the Major League Baseball card, undoubtedly, Braves Phillies. Atlanta has as important of a April series as you could possibly imagine. The idea for the Braves was they would get back home and they would play the Marlins and they would be able to rack up win after win, and it would calm the concerns. Simultaneously, the Phillies would be going against the Dodgers, perhaps put in their place. That is not what happened. Atlanta only was able to play Miami twice while winning the first game 10-0. They were shut out again. 4-0, a loss in the second game. For Philadelphia, they take 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. When we see the Braves number has moved a lot from where it was preseason, that does not mean to me that there is value. Atlanta at plus 330 does not feel like value unless they sweep the Phillies here. 2 out of 3 is not good enough. It is that important for this team. And they go tonight to their ace in Chris Sale. Unfortunately for him, not going to be easy because it's Zach Wheeler on the other side of the mound. And Wheeler's been off to a brilliant start so far this season. Despite that start, I'm going to back Atlanta's ace. Wheeler's first 2 games, first 2 opponents, Washington and Colorado. This should be a step up here against Sale, who was phenomenal last season across the card, but in Atlanta for sure. They were 12-2 in his 14 home starts, as Sale owned a 10-0 record in those games. At minus 115, I think you are not only seeing a tick of an adjustment now for the Braves' struggles, but an uptick for Philadelphia, sitting 7-2 and taking a series off the Dodgers. I like the Braves at minus 115 on the money line. That is how I'm going to play what is certainly the biggest game on the Major League Baseball board tonight. One of the 4 home run picks that we have for you tonight come from this game. Our guy Sam goes to Matt Olson for Atlanta. That is at a plus 450 price. Shortest price belongs to me. Out in Coors, it is going to be Jackson Churro. Red hot. Actually hit 2 home runs in his last game. Sometimes you think that could scare you off. Not for me. I'm also playing the Yerfy in this game at minus 110. I understand Freeland's off to a great start, and I understand Freddie Peralta is a pedigree pitcher, but minus 110 is about as good as you can get for a yes runs first inning wager at Coors Field tonight. Jackson Churro, let's get a leadoff home run. Let's get it on early. On the other side of the field tonight, Koski goes Ezekiel Tovar at a 5-1 number. Tovar been heating back up since this team returned to Coors. His first 24 plate appearances this season, all coming on the road, led to a 125 batting average. Since then, he is off to a phenomenal 8 of 15 for the games that he just played against the A's. So we will see if Tovar can get his first home run. Late night, big price AJ steps up with Jackson Holiday in the desert. Holiday at 9-1 is where he will be getting involved. I'm involved in this game. I'm on the Diamondbacks, minus 106. I think we're seeing Baltimore. It's kind of a leadoff bump. Gunnar Henderson's back. Ketel Marte is out. I'll take Arizona, though, at home. We sung the praises, right, of the NL West for their opening weekend's performances. Well, then all of a sudden, Arizona loses 2 straight to Washington to close out a road trip. They lose the first game of the series to Baltimore, stop the bleeding special. And at minus 106, with Merrill Kelly at home, who so far this season, 1 excellent start, 1 disastrous start, I think can easily bounce back here. I think Kelly's the better pitcher than Morton. I'm at home. I like Arizona at minus 106 on the money line. One of a few money line plays that I made tonight on the Major League Baseball board, 640. Give me the Pittsburgh Pirates at minus 132 with Paul Skeens on the mound. This looks like it is a climbing number in the market. Let me just do a quick poke around here to see where that Skeens number is settling. Minus 138 at one spot, not too bad. And minus, let's see, 142 at another. So a bit of a climb there. I think Paul Skeens at, again, under minus 140 in his own building is an excellent opportunity. I understand Sonny Gray's a pedigree pitcher in his own right. This is a Cardinals team that's yet to win on the road. It's a team in Pittsburgh who so far has been getting brilliance out of Paul Skeens. In fact, our guy who you saw on the graphic there, AJ, is taking a shot on the Cardinals to be shut out tonight. Just, I think, under a 7-1 marker on that number if you are interested. So I'm on the Pirates money line, the Diamondbacks money line, the Braves money line, the fourth money line play for me tonight. Kansas City Royals, Cole Reagans. Cole Reagans last year, a player I know I didn't speak all too favorably about. It feels as if the books perhaps were listening to some of my perception here. Minus 120 at home, better pitcher. I'd say I'm pre-show talking to the crew. Pablo Lopez fan club apparently produces this thing. I mean, ace, all-star. I don't want to hear it. This guy Cole Reagan's supposed to have the juice. Let's see it tonight. Minus 120 in his own building here against the struggling Minnesota Twins team. I like what I'm seeing there. The baseball card as well. The only plays we did not get to, Red Sox, Blue Jays. Nerfy, Rays, minus the half a run, first 5 tonight as well. We'll be right back with you here. We're live on SportsGrid.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Live to the right here on Game Time Decisions. It is a Tuesday evening, and we have gone through the Major League Baseball card. We mentioned the top of the NBA board, which, again, I believe is Suns-Warriors. There's certainly some, I guess, poetic justice in the fact that the Warriors tonight can essentially eliminate the Phoenix Suns from even play-in contention. You consider the fact that Kevin Durant could have been on the Warriors if he wanted to. And I don't think the Warriors would have been, worse than they are, now. And I think KD would have been able to get a lot of credit for that. And the Warriors would have felt so dangerous having reunited Steph and Durant, right? And instead, Phoenix is going out there tonight without KD. Very, very likely he's played his last game in a Suns uniform. And it's a spot where I think Steph will be fantastic. He has to be. It's a monstrous bounce-back spot. Again, Steph Curry in his last game scored just 3 points. If you look the last 5 times he was coming off of a game like that, he averages 30 points per game in those instances while making 6.6 made threes. I really like Steph over the threes. It's a ladder spot if that's something that you are interested in. There's a few other NBA plays I made tonight. I want to mention, though, one play that I don't even have the opportunity to make. I'm surprised, really, and so are the books. Lakers Thunder was a huge game over the weekend. The Lakers got their best win of the season and a very important victory, as it very likely will mean the Lakers are going to end up the number 3 seed. They don't have to worry with this other group that are potentially going to end up in the play-in. Again, from seeds 4 to 8, you have the same amount of losses. So, yes, you could be the 4, you could end up the 8, and a lot of these teams will be playing one another. For the Lakers, that win against Oklahoma City potentially sends a message to the number 1 seed, and it certainly should elevate their confidence as well. The Lakers will play tomorrow in Dallas, the Luka return game. I think many believe the Lakers were just going to, hands up. Nobody going tonight. No Luka, no LeBron, maybe no Reeves. 15.5 point number. It's down to 9.5. Very interested to see what the follow-up game looks like, as the Thunder, who have lost just 14 games this season, are currently tied for their biggest losing streak of the year, having dropped 2 consecutive games. The one time we saw them play off of a 3-game losing streak, it was a win, but no cover, beating the Portland Trailblazers. That game was back in November. They have not lost 3 straight all season. What is a big game in theory, but the ultimate final lineups may make nothing of the sort, is Knicks Celtics. The seeding out east, far less dramatic than that out west. There is some items up for grabs, but it feels as if 1, 2, 3, and 4 all settled. I think the question will be, does Detroit get up to the 5 and catch Milwaukee, or will the Pistons be the 6? Tonight's game, though, if you are the Knicks, you would like to think matters. You keep getting rocked every time you play Boston, Cleveland as well. The Celtics may not really give them that chance. Al Horford already out. Questionable tags on Kristaps, Holiday, Tatum, and Derek White. I am going to play a Knicks team total over 111.5. I think Brunson is going to be playing in this game. He is listed as probable. I think the Knicks offensively at home need a great effort against this Celtics team. Starters or not, I think they get it. Going to take a chance on a Giannis under points, rebounds, and assists. We talk about the incredible stretch that Jokic is on, rightfully. Giannis's last 3 games, 36 points, 12 rebounds, 14 assists. Giannis snuck a 20-assist game in the other day against Philadelphia. Going up against Minnesota, I think Giannis should come back to reality a little bit, specifically in the rebounds and assist categories, and get under that 50 PRA. And then Tyrese Halliburton, a double-double and a Pacers win. There's a boost out there for player performance doubles. Tyrese Halliburton has, again, largely been an automatic double-double now for 6 weeks or so. I'm going to look for that to happen here. They're 19-point favorites against the Wizards. We're going to talk more NBA next right here. It's Game Time Decisions, live with you.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, because I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, we need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions live with you on a Tuesday night. A big week here with the college basketball national championships all finished up. The eye starts to shift towards the NBA postseason. We'll be playing play-in games next week. It is also Masters Week. We'll talk to Brady Cannon at the top of the hour and get his thoughts with Augusta on the horizon. I will say just... Man, last night's game was fun working, certainly, with the entire crew. It was a tough way to go out for Houston. And it was the kind of loss, in the way it happened, it feels appropriate, right, when you consider the offensive struggles that we know Houston has had under Kelvin Sampson. That game actually knocked them out of the top 10 offenses from an efficiency standpoint on KenPom, where they had been for a lot of the season. It was an unnecessary lull that they found themselves in, because I thought Kelvin Sampson had done such a fantastic job in the very beginning of the second half, specifically attacking Walter Clayton Jr., and his guards were finding advantages. And we didn't see Houston do that. Now, it is still true that Houston does not have anywhere near a round one level offensive threat on this roster. I am fascinated what happens next year for the Cougs as they bring in legit one and done multiple level prospects. I know they had the one season from Jarace Walker. He was obviously great for that basketball team, but I think to Gonzaga, Mark Few always so great, but all of a sudden then boom, it's Jalen Suggs. And they were incredible. That team went to a national championship. They ultimately did lose to Baylor. You think about bringing in Chet Holmgren and how great that Gonzaga team was. I know they were eliminated early, but you could see it on the floor. 3 top 20 players from the ESPN 100 will be Houston Cougars next year. Pair that in with the potential returns of JoJo Tugler and Emmanuel Sharp, maybe Milos Uzan as well. Next year feels like it is truly the Kelvin Sampson season. It'll be interesting what happens with Duke, as that 10-1 number, in my opinion, is protecting themselves a bit if Duke brings back guys we are not suspecting Yes, that would even potentially include Cooper Flagg. Duke's entire starting five could be NBA draft picks in 2.5 months. If that ends up true, I do not see how this team is going to be positioned as favorites to win the national championship. If Cooper Flagg is back, if Con Knippel's back, if Tyrese Proctor's back, I get it. It's against the odds. But if they're back, that team is winning next year's national championship. You can set your watch to it. I wonder if the devastating fashion in which they went out, knowing that the NBA is not going anywhere, I just wonder, is it possible, until Cooper Flagg tells us he is 100% declaring, could he return to the college game next season? Because if he does, I imagine Con Knippel's coming with, and at that point, Tyrese Proctor's not going to miss out on the title. Maybe Malawat says, okay, me too. At that point, then the Boozers might be a little bit annoyed. They might, well, where'd my starting slots go? Hold on a second now. That 10-1 number would be 2-1 plus 250. And rightfully so. I know it's unlikely, but there is at least a little bit of a hedge there from the books for some returns for Duke, because I don't think a team that is projected to lose an entire starting five will be booked as championship favorites, at least when we get to next November and we start breaking down the college basketball season. We went through the college basketball season with the help of our guy over from Covers. That's Rohit Panaya. And Rohit's going to stop by here and help us out a little bit with the NBA card tonight. Rohit, appreciate you making some time on this Tuesday night. The transition for some, even if they are regular NBA bettors, that maybe gets put on pause a little bit with March Madness taking center stage. That transition for you now probably betting the NBA on a nightly basis.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot to bet now, but it's a completely different sport in a lot of ways, especially in terms of handicapping. And the end of the regular season's an absolute mess at times. A lot of teams that are just in full-on tank mode, pretty much resting or shutting down all their starters. Other teams in playoff positioning, but might be kind of coasting a little bit. So it can be pretty tough to handicap, but definitely getting into full swing of things again.
So tell me, where is your eye leading you here on this Tuesday slate, Rohit?
Yeah, there's a few spots I really like. One of them is, kind of fading teams that just don't have anybody that can score. Pelicans, Nets, not exactly a game that's on a lot of people's radars. Both these teams have shut down pretty much everybody. Pelicans don't have Zion, McCollum, Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray. Nets don't have Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, D'Angelo Russell. Both these teams play at a pretty slow pace. Nets, one of the slowest teams in the league. Pelicans have been playing at a bottom 10 pace over the since the All-Star break. Both these guys have had a hard time cracking 100 points lately. So I like the under here, under 213. Nothing fancy, just two teams that can't score right now and don't really care. So that's one angle I like. I also like it when you can actually look at two teams and say, hey, both these teams are going to actually try to win a game. And, that's Magic Hawks. So that's another one I like. I do have an angle on here. I like Magic -4. Magic have a big time rest advantage here. They haven't played since last Thursday. 6-2 straight up, 5-3 against the spread their last 8. For the Hawks, this is their third game in their last 4 days. This is the time of the season when that starts to catch up to you. Those grueling scheduling spots, they've dropped 5 of their last 7 games. We know how vulnerable they are on the inside without Capella and Johnson and Nance now. They're not going to be able to match up against Banchero and Wagner. And then on the other side of the floor, you got a really strong Orlando defense and a Hawks team that doesn't really have much firepower behind Trae Young. So I like the Magic at -4 as well.
Yeah, just to mention on Orlando, Atlanta, just one game separating those teams right now for the Southeast race. I know that NBA divisions are not anywhere near as important as some other leagues, but people have those futures. People have those tickets on Atlanta or Orlando. Tonight's game will go a long way. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Rohit, some interest for you in tonight's game between the Knicks and the Celtics. Some news looks to be coming out around this game where maybe Boston going to play at least a portion of their guys. Looks like Tatum's going to be available to go here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing about betting the Celtics over the last, 3-4 weeks, is it seems like their entire starting lineup is questionable. And then it always seems like they're resting one or two guys. They're still winning, still covering spreads. But I think this is the time when you're matching up a team like the Knicks, a team that does want to go into the playoffs with some momentum. They've been winning. They've been covering spreads. Just got Jalen Brunson back. We know what Tom Thibodeau is going to do. He's going to play all his starters 35-plus minutes. All those guys are healthy right now, and Brunson looked a bit rusty on Sunday after missing a month, but I think he's going to get his legs under him. He's going to play better here. They're going to be at home, and you're looking at a pretty close spread. So I like the Knicks to come out on top. I'm backing them on the money line.
Yeah, I am on a Knicks team total tonight. I think offensively at the minimum, Rohit, they're going to need to have themselves a big game here to at least show they can score on this Boston basketball team. We appreciate your time. Best of luck during the oddest portion of the NBA season tonight, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, great stuff as always there from Rohit. We will continue to talk a little bit about tonight's NBA slate. Don't forget Major League Baseball coming up in just a couple of moments on the Pittsburgh Pirates money line with Paul Skeens on the mound. We'll be right back. It is Game Time Decisions on a Tuesday night.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Tuesday night, it is Game Time Decisions. Live this Saturday morning, ATR makes the transition from the college ranks to the pro ranks, which means we lose our excellent co-host Joe Lisi. But myself and Coach James Young will be joined by Tom Vecchio. Tom, great to have you here on a Tuesday night. I saw you tweeting about Michael Malone being fired by the Denver Nuggets, and I'm curious how you feel seeing the team with what many believe is the best player in the world moving on from their head coach a week away from the NBA playoffs beginning?
As someone that has a Denver Western Conference ticket, I'm not thrilled by it. If just being honest, and that's a play just based on where I thought the value lied at the time. I'm not happy with it. I think it's like, why do it now? Ride it out into the playoffs. I guess maybe it's just like a rip the Band-Aid off kind of thing. Like, let's just get it over with. Whatever happens in the playoffs happens, and then we can build starting in the summer, and then we go from there. But very concerning. I'm waiting for another report about some behind-the-scenes locker room stuff.
Yeah, I think there is an indication that Malone didn't have. I don't think he was best friends with everyone in the locker room. I will say this to people, because no one is, and it's fine putting any blame on Jokic. At minimum, if everyone's going to applaud his "I actually don't care about any of this" attitude, this is at minimum downside to it, where other stars take responsibility for these things, right? If he's like, I don't know, it seems like we're losing the locker room. I don't know. I had 40. They didn't do anything. I don't know. There is something to that. I would say this, though, to you, Tom, who has the futures on the Denver Nuggets. You now get the unknown, and in recent Nuggets history, that then is much better than you eventually losing that ticket in round 2, because that's how these Nuggets runs go, right?
It's true. Yeah, and part of it is just where I thought the team would be. Like, I'm a believer in the Thunder, but they're also just a team that hasn't proved it yet, right? Like, we've never seen deep playoff runs from them. When I just thought they were overvalued in the market. That's what it comes down to. Right. So, and I was also, I think this was at the All-Star break. I think there was some DK promo or whatever it might have been. There was able to throw a boost on and get better odds than what it was. But if I was saying, okay, if they can get in the 2-3 seed between them and the Rockets, they could be on the opposite side compared to the Thunder and potentially the Lakers if they ended 4, obviously, this a couple of months ago. And I think that would be a good spot. If they can make it to the Western Conference Finals, I would be in a good spot with that ticket. So it's not like I have overwhelming belief in the Nuggets. I just want to see them put together good games. Obviously, Murray hasn't played in a while. But when they're up, Murray was playing so well in January, February, that stretch. And then they have the pieces. MPJ's doing his thing. Gordon missed some time, but he was healthy. That's a team that just what is wrong with them at times to me?
Yeah, the defense has been atrocious. There has been some injuries. You have a player, again, who's played 3 games this month, is averaging 45, 12, and 10 in those games, and they are 0-3. Yeah. So doing something, I will say, I'm not betting anything else, and this has been the case for a long time in the NBA futures market, until they actually set this bracket up. Let's remove Oklahoma City, Houston, and the Lakers. And yes, by the way, the Lakers are in that class. Those are going to be your top 3 seeds. Denver's at 4. Memphis is at 8. They've lost the same amount of games. So your Nuggets tickets, you might end up on the 8th seed, which is insane to think about, right? But if you end up on the 7 seed and everyone's back, the number is going to be really short. It's going to be very, very short against Houston on a series price. Maybe the Western Conference number goes to 15-1, 16-1. All right, maybe then I could be interested. Maybe. So it becomes fascinating, Tom.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about on Sunday night on In Game Live with Scott and Joe. We were talking about the leading up to that Denver game. Who were they playing? They were at home playing the Pacers, and I was just like, they're the 4 seed. They could be the 7 seed before they even need to play in. What are we talking about here for Denver, a team that you have this double overtime loss, then all of a sudden you play in a back-to-back, then you're at Golden State. I'm like, 3 seed, 5 seed, 8 seed? I just don't know. And yeah, there's a bit of uncertainty, but I do think that I would have to check on the hedging potential if they were to play Houston in the first round. But that matchup would be incredibly intriguing. A team that has this massive rise this year with Houston versus a team that's done it before, but they also have this giant question mark, this variable that's unknown.
Yeah, I will say if the Nuggets match up with the Rockets in round 1, anything other than winning that series is absolutely inexcusable. It doesn't mean I'll pick Denver. It doesn't mean that. It's completely inexcusable if that team goes up against that team and does not win it.
So
if
then what's the plan for the summer for the Rockets? No, not for the Rockets, excuse me, for the Nuggets. If the Nuggets were to lose to the Rockets, what's the plan for them in the summer?
Yeah, I think for Denver it's tricky because everything's on the board outside of moving on from Nikola Jokic. I think, now I said maybe the negative of Jokic is he's not going to give the rah-rah speech. The positive is nobody actually thinks he would request a trade, right? Everything needs to be on the board. The Nuggets, since winning the title, have just spent each and every offseason losing players that were key contributors and thinking that these rookies would potentially come in and save the day. And I know that, their first-round draft choice, I believe it was a first-round choice, and Daron Holmes ended up tearing his ACL in the summer. But, again, was Daron Holmes going to be the difference between this team ending up in the situation that they're in right now? I don't really know. Here's what's lost on this all. This team, you could say, they could be the 4. They could be the 3. People believe Jokic is having the greatest individual season in the history of this league. They should be winning 56, 57, 58 games. So there's a failure going on. We're going to keep Tom right here. We're going to go through his action tonight, NBA as well as Major League Baseball. We'll break it down with you. Go nowhere Tuesday night on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, because I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're here with you right now on SportsGrid. We have got a 2-0 lead for Washington off a James Wood homer. I did adore their Twitter account calling out the Major League Baseball account the other day. That was a good time. That was good fun. Bases are juiced with 2 out. Top 1, Crochet's in some trouble. We had the no runs first inning, so we could use him to work out of that there. Also, the game between the Guardians and the White Sox went final, 1-0. Cleveland walks that thing off. Tom, talk to me, Major League Baseball. Where are you betting on the diamond tonight?
Yeah, let's start in Wrigley Field, and the Cubs are off to a great start. Great offense. Patrick Corbin who signed with the Rangers on March 18th, is making his Rangers debut. He did not have a contract in the offseason because he's terrible. So let's take Corbin under 3.5 strikeouts. The Cubs this year to start, 19.8% strikeout rate versus lefties. That's the 6th lowest in the league. Last year, Corbin, 18% strikeout rate. He's terrible. He is a terrible pitcher. The contract that Nats have him, I'm sorry, Sam, in the background, terrible contract. He was awful. And he just didn't have a major league contract. That's how bad of a pitcher he is. He signed. He's with them. He's going to get hit around despite it being like 38 degrees there, whatever it is. And it's actually great theoretical pitching weather. He's still going to get hit around. He's not a dominant strikeout pitcher anymore. Corbin under 3.5 strikeouts.
I am curious if Corbin could surprise in Texas, but I am not interested in betting on it, at least today. The Dinger Tuesday promo was not as fun as it once was. I hope they fix it. But we all on the show got involved with some home run picks. Looks like you have one as well.
Yeah, let's go to my guy Jackson Merrill. Invested in him today, invested in him season long. It's plus 680. You throw the boost on there, puts him over 10-1. He's off to a great start, great exit velocity. They're in, not Oakland, Sacramento, which is turning out to be a great hitter's park. It's warm there, 70s, a little bit of wind blowing out, going up against Jeffrey Springs. We can't look at his stats from this year. We can't look at his stats from last year. We only had 33 innings pitched. We can't look at the year before. We only had 16 innings pitched. We have to look at his entire career. He's not a pitcher we have to fear on the mound. He gives up a decent amount of fly balls, over 1.4 home runs per nine over the course of his career, not just in these small sample sizes. I like the matchup. Merrill's hot at the plate, like everything is set up for, and plus the number that we get him at is awesome. We look at some of Merrill's recent exit velocities on Baseball Savant, and they are well over 100. He has the pieces to get it done, and the matchup and the price is phenomenal.
An update in the top of the first between Boston and Toronto. Maybe if the robot umps were around, that would have been a Yerfie. Instead, it's scoreless heading into the bottom of the first inning. We'll take it anyway we can get it. NBA-wise, Tom, tonight, where is your attention on that card?
Let's turn to Milwaukee and Minnesota. And this has what? Everything that I've talked about over the past few weeks. Two teams that are both playing, like they're actually playing to win, right? It's not like we're dealing with, I forget who, the Wizards are playing tonight, whatever it is. That's not where we want to be. We want two teams in the playoff hunt. We know that they should be operating rationally. Good rotations. It's got a lower 220-ish total, like 222 total. Like it's not super high. The teams are 17 and 21 in pace. So let's go to Mike Conley, under 8.5 points. His field goal attempts are really modest. He only has a 15% offensive usage rate overall. He's obviously not going to be their primary scorer. Conley having points isn't a path to the Timberwolves beating the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Like obviously he should be going and he's gonna be taking plenty of threes. It should be Randall mixed in there. Even McDaniel's doing his thing, being a nice, tertiary role in the offense. Like Mike Conley plays his role, but it's never him pushing to 12 some odd points. It happens at times, but I'll just take a player with low usage. I'll take that on the under to close out the season.
I am on a Giannis PRA 50.5 under. Take it a shot. Take it a shot. He is presently having as good of a 3-game stretch as Jokic, and think about how good the Jokic stretch is. It's worth a shot, though. At 50.5.
I saw some stat that it was like he's the first player since Wilt to do like 75, 20, and something like that.
Anything that is the first since Wilt, is crazy. Because everything Wilt did is impossible to imagine. Tom, we appreciate you making some time for us here on a Tuesday. Best of luck with that slate, and you and I will be in the mix fully on Saturday.
That's right. I'll be in studio on Saturday, taking things all throughout the end of the regular NBA season into the playoffs, and then back for pro baseball today, Sunday morning, 10 to 12 with Donnie.
Which is fantastic. Also, 7 o'clock, Pacers, Wizards, Halliburton, double-double. Pacers win. Looks like it's plus money now. Throw that odds boost on there and trust Tyrese Halliburton to get the job done. Masters talk with Brady Cannon next right here on SportsGrid.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
It is game time decisions. We've made plenty. We've set you out. We got a lot of big games coming up. Just in case you're just tuning in, Rays, first 5, -0.5 a run. We're back in Baz against the Angels. Braves, money line, big game, Sale versus Wheeler. And then NBA coming up. We're involved with Tyrese Halliburton, double-double, and a Pacers win. We also have some big decisions to make for the Masters. Let me say this. Ear to the ground, a lot of buzz for this Masters. Some of the guys who are not big into the golf world, popping up. Some of them, hey, what do you have this week? Some have their own picks. So, I heard there was some DeChambeau love out there. Brady Cannon's going to help us sort through it all. Brady, so good to have you as we get set for Augusta on Thursday.
Oh, man. It's glorious, isn't it? Masters Week has arrived, and, we've been waiting just about a year for the ability to say that yet again. And you're right. I mean, I guess it's every year, but it feels, I don't know, maybe there's a little extra level to it this year. But one thing that's nice is the weather looks like it's going to be good. So looks like we're going to get one heck of a tournament.
Yeah, it sure does. I want to start this a little differently than we typically would, where, you and I, we've been talking so much in the lead up to this. We've talked through a lot of your action. We will do it again, certainly. I want to throw a name at you, and I will tell you this, Brady. It is largely your fault for burning into my brain. A passing comment. If anyone who listened to Brady and I, especially on the weekends, it felt like throughout the golf season last year, one of us would bring up a name. You go, what do you know? There's that guy playing the best golf he's ever played, just randomly. And you and I, the last time we spoke, at the very end, you were like, isn't that some price on Jon Rahm? And I can't look at this odds board, Brady, and not just keep, look, JR, all right, there's Rahm. There's Rahm. Because all of a sudden now, the Scotty Scheffler, you can't get near his numbers. Well, Rory is near his numbers. And Rahm is kind of just a guy. I mean, it's the third best odds, but much closer to Ludwig and Morikawa and Schauffele and DeChambeau. Where are you at right now on Jon Rahm heading into the Masters?
He is in pocket and the biggest bet that I have in the outright.
Wow. How about
yes,
that?
indeed. And, let me preface that by also saying I don't like him any more than the other bets that I have. It's just because he's the shortest price. So he in turn gets the most risk. I'm trying to win a certain amount. Okay. A lot of people will play the outright market and they'll just put $100 or $20 or whatever. They put the same amount on each guy. I don't do that. According to what the odds are, dictates how much I'm going to bet on them to try and win a certain amount. So, because John Rahm is the shortest shot that I am on this week, he has the most risk in the outright market for me. I also played him for a top 10 finish at plus 130. I got him at 16 to 1 to win the Masters. And, I see there on the graphic, you've got 14 to 1. I believe that's at FanDuel. And you kind of allude to it here. Scotty's, 4, 5, whatever. Rory's 5, 6, whatever. And then all of a sudden, we nearly triple the number with the next closest guy. I'm kind of surprised Rahm isn't closer to 12 to 1. Why is he 16? Or, you could argue he's played in 18 live circuit events. Okay. He's finished top 10 in every single one of them. He's won 2 of them. And I think you could argue that he should have won more. But at the same time, you can also say, boy, is he consistent and boy, is he competitive, finishing in the top 10 week in and week out on that tour. We know he's won here before. If you look at the correlated courses, there's so much to the Masters, Kevin. We play the same golf course every year. It's the only major that stays at the same course year after year. So we have a plethora of course history and trends. And, there's so much you can lean on statistically, historically for the Masters. And the correlated courses are incredibly sticky as well. The amount of crossover success we see with 3 golf courses specifically with Augusta is unbelievable. And we start at Kapalua in Maui, where they play the Sentry. They've played that tournament 27 times over the years as the tournament that kicks off the year. Like 40% of the time, 40% of the winners at Kapalua have also won the Masters. Riviera Country Club, where they play the Genesis Invitational, the LA Open. Over the last 30 some years, almost 50% of the winners of the LA Open have also been Masters champions. Fred Couples, Mike Weir, Bubba Watson, Adam Scott. And then the old course at St. Andrews, where they play the British Open. If you go back to 1970, they played the British Open at the old course at St. Andrews 10 times. 6 of them have been won by a Masters champion, and 2 others have been won by a Masters runner-up. So you look at some of these courses where the same names pop up year in and year out. John Rahm has won at Riviera, it was all in 2023. He started off the year getting past Colin Morikawa, who collapsed down the stretch. Rahm won the Sentry at Kapalua. He went on to win at Riviera and then went on to win the Masters. So, I had made 5 bets. I actually started back in January, Kevin. I had made 5 selections and I was trying to come up with one more, and I landed on Rahm.
Yeah, it is a name that has been burned into my mind. There is one other I want to throw to you, Brady, and we may keep you a little bit extra. Just this is how it gets when it comes to the Masters, but Hovland has been fascinating for a little while now, and the fact that Hovland went miscut, and then won the Valspar, and you've told me in the past this is not the tournament where you go hunting your 150 to 1s. It just rarely works out that way. You can, but you know what you're signing up for. So a long shot of Hovland, a 35 to 1 or a 40 to 1 looks to be out there. If he's on, he is as good as anyone in the world. Does a first place finish in his last event make up for the fact that he missed 3 cuts in a row leading into that event?
It kind of does, I think. There's a trend out there. Again, there are endless trends for the Masters. 11 of the last 13 winners of the Masters have had a win to their credit in their last 6 starts leading up to Augusta. So Victor Hovland checks that box. I think you have to ask yourself, and you talk about, yes, it's a chalky tournament. It's not a tournament where we see a lot of long shots win. That 35, 40 to 1 number is about the threshold. Over the last 10, 15 years, whatever it's been, I believe that's about the average price of your Masters winner. So when you start to get into the 80s and 90s and 100 to 1s, now you're in territory that you may not want to dabble in too much. But the 30s and 40s, it's okay. You just have to ask yourself if that price has gotten too high on Hovland. Is there value there?
Yeah, it becomes a really fascinating tournament. We're going to bring Brady back quickly. Just one more time, we're going to go through that card and get you ready for Augusta National on Thursday. It's Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
I said at the beginning of this, is people just coming out of the woodworks, not just asking who has plays, but here are my plays. I just got a 10-leg make the cut parlay sent my way. It's a smooth it looks like it's about 560 to 1.
Holy cow.
Or no, 55 to 1, excuse me, 55 to 1, excuse me, far more tamer. But we've got people getting excited. I want to.
That's great.
Brady, you were telling me during the break about there's a lot of people betting Rory.
Yeah.
And again, there's no fake here. I am not an every tournament golf bettor. There are majors that I go, I don't know, there's nothing for me there, right? I love talking it. It's a lot of fun. I respect it. But even I have dealt with betting Rory heartbreak in my limited sample size. I cannot believe that either there are people far tougher than me or enough people who haven't dealt with it that are betting Rory McIlroy down to this number where he is truly encroaching on Scotty Scheffler territory.
He sure is. And I think those same people would probably argue that Rory is the better player right now. He's maybe the hottest player in the entire world. Of course, he won the Players' Championship, won earlier this year at Pebble Beach. And that's where all the buzz is, Kevin. You've got a confluence here of storylines for Rory McIlroy. Okay, every time we head to Augusta, there's the question about Rory McIlroy being able to complete the career Grand Slam. He's won the PGA, he's won the U.S. Open, he's won the British Open. He only needs the Masters. He has come close in the past. So there's always that storyline and that pressure and that attention and that spotlight. Well, now this year, on top of that, he happens to come in with 2 victories to his credit, the first time he's ever had 2 wins prior to the Masters. And being as hot as he is and being as in good form as he is, it's no wonder that people love him to finally, turn the trick here this time in 2025. And you can't argue any of that, how good he's been and what he's been doing as of late. However, there's so much of that attention. You know how it is in sports betting. When you have so much of an overload of expectation and attention, that's when I like to back off and go the other way. I wouldn't be surprised if his Irish buddy Shane Lowry won this week and not Rory McIlroy. I get an email from BetMGM every week with all the betting splits. Rory is number 1 in ticket count percentage, number 1 in betting handle percentage, and is number 2 as far as their biggest liability. You mentioned Bryson DeChambeau earlier. Bryson DeChambeau, the number 1 biggest liability at BetMGM. Rory McIlroy, number 2. So again, the attention and the storyline, the spotlight is being translated into the betting markets as well. And for me, oftentimes that's a red flag. Not the case with Scotty Scheffler last year. He was oftentimes the very most popular pick across the board, and he cashed that ticket about 8 times. But more often than not, in my opinion, that's something I want to avoid. I don't want to be in the majority like Rory is so heavily this week.
Yeah, it again is one of those things. I think with Rory, if you were offering, and I know people sometimes get annoyed by this, it's the bet is to win, whether it's 6-1 or 14-1. But if it was 14-1, I could go, all right, you know what? They're dropping his numbers back because nobody wants to bet him to actually win the green jacket. Instead, they are betting it in droves to win the green jacket, which I think, again, is so fascinating.
People want to see him win, too. People are rooting for it as well, Kev, which I think is part of it.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the case here. Brady, we'll leave it on this if I am leaving you enough time. For those here on Game Time Decisions, can you just give them the rundown, the what they need to know, and where you are at heading into Thursday's tee time?
Yeah, I've made all of the outright bets I'm going to make, and I have a long list of 9 of them, which is way too many to have, except I will say 6 of them are kind of my real main bets. The other 3 are just shots in the dark, long shots. We've talked about how this is a chalky tournament. I've taken 3 plays at 100-1 or better for very little risk, and we'll see what happens. I've also played them for top 20 finishes. But I'll start with what I call my main card, and I mentioned Jon Rahm. I've got him at 16. I've got Colin Morikawa at 22. I bet that all the way back in January. I don't mind 14 or 16, the current number. I've got Matsuyama at 25. He's now closer to 30. I have got Tommy Fleetwood at 50 to 1. He's now closer to 35 or 40. 40 is still a really good number, in my opinion. I've got Brooks Koepka at 35. I believe that is still trading around that number. I think he always has to be considered for any major championship when he's in good health. Also in pretty good form with a runner-up finish in Singapore a few weeks ago. And then finally, my largest shot again on the main card, and I said this is probably about the threshold for a realistic shot to win the Masters. We don't often get the big long shots, but Russell Henley at 60 to 1, who now is trading more in the neighborhood of 40, 45, 55. Russell Henley, Kevin, has probably been the most under-the-radar best player in the world the last couple of years, and just won at Bay Hill, probably the biggest win to his credit for his career, at a big boy golf course, too, for a relatively shorter hitter. So I think that goes a long way in saying what he can possibly do at this golf course, where, by the way, just a couple of years ago, he finished fourth. So there you go, Henley, Fleetwood, Koepka, Rahm, Matsuyama, Morikawa, and then the three long bombs at 100 to 1 or better, Justin Rose, Patrick Reed, and Sergio Garcia.
All right, so we got a couple of long options there. Rahm dominating the top of the card. It feels appropriate, Brady. I look forward to checking in throughout this tournament. It should be a fun one.
Let's do it, man. Enjoy. It's the Masters, baby.
We'll be right back with you here. It is SportsGrid Game Time Decisions on a Tuesday night.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, we need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's update your Major League Baseball board here on this Tuesday night. 3-0 St. Louis. Looks like they will not be shut out tonight as they get to Skeens in a big way in inning number 3. They are a pretty considerable minus, let's see what this live number is here, minus 530 to win this baseball game. We'll see. Let's see what the team total checks in at for St. Louis. 4.5 plus money under, but still
they're expecting. I would actually look over that number now. I know I'm not going to bet it. It goes much against, a lot against what I was thinking for this game, but how much longer does Skeens have? He's already 50 pitches on the arm, getting roughed up here by St. Louis. 5-0. Nats up on the Dodgers. All of a sudden, the unbeatable Dodgers ran into the Phillies and the Nationals, and, well, things are I was going to say the NL East, but they swept the Braves, so I guess just they ended up on the road. It's not going great. 5-0. Shout out the Nats. A little feisty. We did get the no runs first inning, luckily, for Boston and Toronto. Might need that one because it is now 2-0 Angels as Parrish just homered. You got to be, come on, bottom of the lineup homer there. You're better than that, Baz. 2-0 Angels up on the Rays. And then we are early doors right now between the Braves and the Phillies. Let's reset the Major League Baseball card. Coming up at 7:40, Royals Twins. KC money line back in Cole Reagan's at home at what I think is a very, very affordable price. Did bet yes runs first inning. I get it, Freeland, Peralta, but -110 I think is really a solid number to get involved with a yes runs first inning in a game between the Rockies and the Brewers at Coors Field. In that game, a couple of home run picks from the team. Amon Jackson Churio at +430. I believe that number is. Ezekiel Tovar for Koski. That's a 5-1. Braves are pick already underway for Sam +450. And then again, Holiday in the game between the Orioles and the D-backs, 9-1 for AJ. I'm on the D-backs in that game at -106. I think I've got the better pitcher. I'm at home. And it's a stop the bleeding special there for Arizona. They've lost 3 in a row. First game of the series at home. They drop it to Baltimore. I think they get the win here tonight at a -106 number. That number is A-OK with me. That's where I'm at on the Major League Baseball board. Updates on the NBA card right now. Memphis up big early on Charlotte. They were a near 15-point favorite. They might have closed a tick lower. They're already up 13. They should rock this Hornets team. The offense has not been fantastic since the move from Jenkins. You wonder if maybe they're slowing it down. Maybe that's still to come. Defensively, they've been playing good ball, and they're playing it early here. Again, Charlotte, huge number for the Cavs. Despite not having Donovan Mitchell, they're up big early right now on the Bulls. The Pacers, a slow start going up against the Wizards, which I'm fine with. I don't see any world they lose that game, and it makes sure that you get maybe a full minute allotment out of Tyrese Halliburton. Slower start for him, just 2 points, only 1 assist. So you'd like to see Tyrese Halliburton start to log a couple more assists in that game. Magic up 5 right now on the Atlanta Hawks. Did Trae Young it ended up in for that game, so we'll see what Trae and Atlanta have against Orlando. If you are on the NHL board tonight, we do have a score in the game between Montreal and Detroit. Road Red Wings up 1-0. Florida, that's a national TV game, up 1-0 on Toronto. Road Bruins up on the New Jersey Devils. Home Blue Jackets up on the Senators. We are scoreless between Pittsburgh and Chicago, as well as the Buffalo Sabres and their matchup with the Carolina Hurricanes. That is where the live board sits right now here on this Tuesday night. When we get back, let's take a look at the NBA standings, the Western Conference race, the Western Conference outlook, and if at all, did the firing of Michael Malone create some value, potentially? Is it sell the Nuggets, bet everywhere else, bet the Nuggets? We'll talk about that next. Here with you on this Tuesday night, it is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. We've got Dave Sharapan stopping by in just a little bit as well, so keep it right here. We'll be right back.
to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid. Let's take a look. What do we got right now out there in the market? Nothing crazy, nothing moving, nothing shaking. I did see it. I did see a tweet come through, and this happened around 1 o'clock Eastern time. A conversation around Will Johnson to the Vegas Raiders. Now, these are draft Twitter rumors, but sometimes that's where they begin, and then they turn into something much more than that. Why that is certainly worth bringing up. Where it is, why it would be such a big deal is there's a lot of confidence that the Raiders, or there's a decent amount of confidence that the Raiders at 6 will be drafting Ashton Genty. If that ends up happening, if they end up passing on Genty for Will Johnson, then player to be drafted by Ashton Genty, there's certainly some value. You could take a look elsewhere. Position, though, of player drafted, FanDuel cornerback, first player Raiders plus 420. Just some stuff to keep your eyes on out there with the draft around the corner, more than people would expect. But we stop all draft talk when Dave Sharapan shows up because he is not a fan. He is a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Are you? Do you fondly remember the days of Clint Hurdle? People wanted to know, Dave.
He's my guy.
Is he?
We've become friends. Yeah, we've become friends via social media. That was some of the best times I ever had in Vegas. Working in the book. Those were phenomenal summers. I mean, my whole family vacation was planned around when the Pirates came out west. It was either go to San Diego, go to see them play the Dodgers. And the Z, they did the Z when they got base hits. Clint Hurdle had that team. It was so much fun. We thought they were going to make the postseason. Like they did make the postseason. And then they ran into some, amazing pitchers. Jake Arrieta, 1-game playoff, done. Madison Bumgarner, 1-game playoff, done. I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Hey.
thanks for bringing those memories up. I appreciate that.
There's a lot of Clint Hurdle chatter in the office today. You're wearing the Pirate stuff. I thought I'd throw it your way.
Trying
Dave,
to get Clint
I
on the show. I'm going to get in touch with you. He can come on the show here too.
I want to ask you about the NBA because it is, I imagine, one of the least enjoyable times of year for whoever in the room is responsible for the NBA. And we see it happen a week ago. Nuggets all day, double digits to the Spurs. Nobody's playing. Game goes down to like -2. Spurs win outright in Denver. Now, maybe they didn't crush the books, right? Maybe people were laying that number. Maybe they were throwing Denver in moneyline parlays, but the book was uncertain. The book today, around now that everyone's in, Oklahoma City and the Lakers is the biggest game, the books took a stand. The books went, Lakers, no way they play their guys. They got a game tomorrow in Dallas. Luka makes the return. They already beat OKC. They don't really need this game. 15.5.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they ended up having to put it back down to 9.5. Lakers played everybody. Books can't be too pleased that they're now. We've seen this movie before. It's OKC by 20 is the title of the film, but they can't be too pleased with how many people are holding 15.5 on the Los Angeles Lakers.
Thank goodness for in-game betting now, because this used to be a problem because they got numbers that you just couldn't fix. You couldn't get out of. So at least with the in-game stuff now, it's not as, of a problem that it used to be. But no, this week it stinks. All these stories and things and guys in, guys out. Now, the uncertainty of the playoffs is going to be great. And the Western Conference, I mean, we're a week away from the season ending. Three games left for most teams, 3 or 4. And you don't even know, other than maybe a 1 and a 2, who's in what spot. So I that's great. The book is going to be fine. Coming off a big weekend of March Madness. Everything's going to be fine. So the no crying, sympathy for the books. They're going to be okay. That number was wrong this morning. It's a little better now. It's 9.5. I don't know. I mean, did you see what the Lakers did in the first game against OKC? That was a little bit of a statement. It was surprising that they weren't going to just play again, just to remind OKC that we'll see you again in the playoffs. And we can't come here and win, which we already did. So I saw that number this morning, and I went, geez, they didn't even send anybody. They just sent him right to Dallas already. Well, reports about that maybe a little bit premature.
I truly, look, I would have sat everyone because OKC is on their biggest losing streak of the season. Tied at 2.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely this one goes your way.
Yeah.
You can't lose the Dallas game. Not just because of the standings, but you can't let Luka lose the return game. But I think you would have had, this is going to sound crazy. I think Dave will back me up, though. I think it would have been more likely that they stun them with a backup team and Austin Reeves by himself than win this game full gas tonight. Because now OKC should be on their P's and Q's.
Right. No, this is the games. This is the games that are played right now in the NBA. They're, I don't want to say setting them up, but maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. The Lakers are, I have a feeling they're just playing chess. I mean, did you see what Denver did today? Yeah. Denver fired the coach and told the GM, you ain't coming back either. We can't have any of this anymore. Right before we start the playoffs, they just won a championship 2 seasons ago. Memphis fired their coach last week. Surprisingly, the most stable teams in the West are the 2 at the top. It's the Lakers and the Thunder.
Oh, wait a minute.
Jeez.
You mean, so just curious, Dave, because you talk to some of these people on a regular basis, are people pretending that they weren't acting like JJ Redick's only credibility was a podcast, or are they giving LeBron a lot of credit for finding a great coach? I'm just curious.
That's a good question. I don't know. Well, we're going to have to ask around. We're going to have to find out about that because, all premature reports about the Lakers being toast or a dysfunctional franchise state of affairs. Yeah, put all those on hold. Everything's going to be okay. Maybe Luka don't play that great a defense. That's okay. They'll figure it out. Things are going to be okay.
Yeah. Again, here's the thing. People, this is how it goes. Right? Lakers probably end up in the conference finals. That's how it's trending. People go, obviously, they got LeBron and Luka. Instead of remembering all the people that ran to microphones and Twitter to go, LeBron and Luka will work together. Oh, you sure? We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Here on a Tuesday evening, Kevin Walsh, I'm joined by Dave Sharapan. And on this evening, there is.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a draft question? Like, because I know you're so immersed in the draft and things like this. The Steelers still don't have a quarterback, right? Like we do this visit all the time. The Steelers still do not have a quarterback. This is true. Mason Rudolph, the only one. So everyone's waiting for Aaron Rodgers to come to Pittsburgh. I don't know if he is or not. Are they drafting Jackson Dart? Is that a thing? Like, are you hearing that?
I feel as if a lot of people are assigning them the Jalen Milroe love right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't really. I cannot figure out this quarterback stuff. I don't know if everyone fully realizes just how odd this all is. Cam Ward's going 1, cool. That's normal. Shedeur Sanders and this slide being projected so far out. Well, is it a slide? Like, now, nobody now thinks he's going 3rd, right? Nobody thinks that anymore. His odds to be a top 5 pick, though, plus 195. Okay, so I guess that'd be a slide. But there are people who think he'll be on the board for when Pittsburgh drafts. Well, if that's the case, then is Dart going to go round 1? It doesn't feel like Milroe's going to go round 1. The Pittsburgh part of it is difficult, but it now requires us to figure out the New Orleans part of it and the New York Giants part of it. And I still believe that the Giants part of it is very complicated. Some that, around the team don't agree. But if Abdul Carter is on the board at 3,
gotta take it.
I think it's on the board they trade out. I think it's on the board they trade out because of the offers that they would then be getting. Now, maybe they don't care about those offers because that would be a great deal for guys that will replace them, as opposed to the guys currently inside the room at this moment. But if Abdul Carter comes on the board at 3, from New England to Jacksonville to Carolina, 49ers, Dallas, I mean, Philly would probably give it a shot. You should hang up on him. But, if you're the Giants and you traded back to 8, right? You are still in front of New Orleans. You can draft Shedeur right there. You will have picked up multiple first-rounders for your move back. Is that a bad way to operate? I don't think so. Is Shedeur the only quarterback the Steelers are interested in round 1? Are the Steelers doing all of this work hoping that they could draft one of these guys in round 3 or 4? And then they're going to be, we would have drafted these guys. We didn't know. We had no idea. Remember when the Steelers were only interested in Matthew Stafford once he was going back? They're like, man, we didn't know that he was so available. And then Sam Darnold was going to Seattle, and they were like, man, Steelers tried kicking the tires. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I don't really believe a lot out of Pittsburgh right now. They are helping muddy the waters of what feels like a very muddy draft season.
Yeah. All right. Well, I had to get that one out of the way. The other question I had for you, are you over the Cougars? Because that was a tough one yesterday. I mean, I thought we had that. We don't get a shot off at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, had tipped to Florida, and they came back and won that game. Unlike, Duke, who I think blew the game to, lose to Houston in the semi. But Final Four, all ones, all good games, epic games. I just, I know you had that ticket, and I was on it with you, Houston. College basketball, we can, put it to rest. It was a fun season. It was a hell of a sweat. But, man, we got to get a shot off there at the end, K-Dub. I mean, just throw it to you in the corner. Throw it up. Get a shot.
Well, the offense through the last 5 minutes was unacceptable. My only regret is when Houston was up big, because I hedged a little bit, right?
Right.
Instead of going, you know what, I can do one final hedge, and now this can be a pretty clean process regardless.
Right.
I was like, they're just going to win this game. And they were going to win it until they weren't, and it happens, and that's how these things go. It was a great ride. I said this morning, to someone, this is the power of free bets, though. I really believe it's one of the biggest advantages that you can have, as someone who's, betting on a FanDuel, on a DraftKings, the ability to bet, let's just say you bet Houston at plus 900, okay, for $100. And then you end up with $100 in free bets on Houston at that same number. Guess what? You're now at 18-1. That's how I view it. And that makes hedging a lot easier. So, that's kind of a part of it. Let me throw this back your way, college basketball.
Yes, sir.
Duke right now is 10-1 to win the title next year. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
The idea is their entire starting five is going to go to the NBA.
Right.
If I told you Cooper Flagg's coming back.
Oh, my.
Which means Con Knippel's coming with him.
Whoa.
What's that number?
Oh, we might go half. We might just go right in half. We might just cut that thing right in half. We start at 5-1 and let the people just come in and bet them and bet them and bet them and bet them. And I mean, how much lower can we go without knowing? I mean, it still takes 5 guys to play on the court. You still need 7 or 8 on a team that will actually get in the rotation. But that number gets cut in half right off the top. These numbers are fun. You're just putting names next to the numbers, names to the schools. Anybody know who half the teams are?
But here's why. He comes back, right? You go cut it in half, and then you know what my job is right behind you? Yeah, cutting it in half again. We're down to plus 250. They're winning the title. He comes back. Consig appreciates it. He's got in-game live. We'll fly through the card with you. Get out of here on a Tuesday next.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of good things happening on this Major League Baseball board, including a lead for the Braves on a Sean Murphy 3-run homer. Pittsburgh did take one back off St. Louis. All of this will be covered on In-Game Live tonight with Dave Sharapan. Dave is here for just one more minute, says he wants to ask me a question. I am very curious what this is because it seems as if he thinks it's going to upset me. And unfortunately for me, let's be honest, Dave does kind of know me. And if he thinks that, it could be an issue. So go ahead, Dave.
I know you're unbiased. You're the most unbiased man in sports media right now. So I'm going to just ask you a question. Like, bigger surprise the Nationals and how well they're playing, or the Yankees and them getting swept in Detroit and not being able to hit in another shutout. Like, for Yankee fans, things are a little bit concerning right now. I mean, it's only April 8th, but I figured I'd ask you, I'd hang up and let you answer for all Yankee fans, because you're the most unbiased man in sports.
Yeah, listen,
right now.
Great question. Great question by Dave, but he did call the most unbiased man in history of sports media hotline. So nothing to get riled up here, nothing to get worried about, man. They're a 6-5 ball club. We look around this league, above 500 right now, you'll take it. I mean, the Dodgers are getting pumped 8-0 by the Washington Nationals. Could you imagine being that? I mean, that counts for about 6-7 losses, if we're being honest. That's pretty ugly. That's pretty tough. You know, this Ohtani MVP number could be dropping back. You know what I mean? It's time to worry. It's time to panic in the streets. It is. The only thing we're worried about is that the Dodgers are going to get shut out. We hope not. There's a ticket out there. I know I only talk about the Mets one. There's a sneaky Dodger ticket out there. All right. There's a sneaky Angels ticket out there. All right. There's a sneaky Rockies ticket out there. Somebody had to. Why not me? 40-1. I'm just saying. 40-1. We're at Coors. You know, so we're in the mix. So the Yankees get shut out. My take is good riddance. We didn't touch them. We didn't touch them. We didn't need them. 14th team done. We almost got half the league out of here. Let's shut out a couple of more of these jabronis. That's what I'm thinking. That's good by me. No worries. Not going to shut out the Nats tonight. Not with James Wood playing like this. And I listen, whenever the Nats folks, you know, Nats Central, that Twitter hub, whenever you want to send thanks my way for lighting a fire under that kid heading into the season, hey, I'll be ready to accept it. We're going Yerfy, Rockies, Brewers. We're going Jackson Churio for the home run. We're still rooting on the Matt Olson home run. Ezekiel Tovar in the same game. Rockies, Brewers. Jackson Holiday, we're looking for a homer there in the game between the Diamondbacks and the Orioles. Not too many men on, though, when he does it, because we have the D-backs money line -106. As far as the games for a little bit later on in the baseball card, it's Mariners, Astros, Luis Castillo, Framber Valdez. Really interested to see if Castillo has it again. Great start to his season. Let's see if he has it again. Opportunity for the Reds to get one again here against the Giants. Hot start for San Fran. They did drop the first game of this series, getting shut out. We'll see what the Reds have in game number 2. Late night, A's, Padres. Padres look very cheap. Cease -130. Road environment, what are we talking about? They look cheap. I'm not touching it. Well, nothing to do with it. That's what we're going to be keeping our eyes on, though. NBA, Giannis under the 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Close your eyes special. That's one of those you don't need to check it every 5 minutes, every quarter or so. And then, best prop on the board tonight. Steph Curry, 5 made threes. Big-time bounce-back spot for the chef. He was on an unbelievable 3-game run. And it came crashing against Houston. He scored 3 points. 1 of 10 from the field. 1 of 8 from 3. Steph, the last 5 times he is playing a game after scoring single digits the game prior, averages 6.6 made threes. 6.6. On the season, when he has made 1 or fewer threes in the game prior, he's made 5 or more in 3 out of the next 4 games. I really like what you're going to get out of Steph tonight. If you want a little bit more juice in that game, I think Ryan Dunn gets in the mix. I think his points prop's 8.5, so a 9 spot for Ryan Dunn, playing a little bit more with the Durant injury, works just as well. And that's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. Can we, let's see, what else is going on out there quickly? Anything crazy? People want a Tyrese Halliburton update. They're screaming it. 3 points, 2 assists. That's not good enough. We're going to need a lot more there. Alex Sarr on an MVP run. People are calling for it. Knicks, wake it up. Knicks, wake it up. Wake it up. We'll see you on Thursday. Game Time Decisions, In-Game Live is next.